I can't stop breaking down again. The simplest things set me off again. Take me to that place.
By the end of the 80s, McCartney was reaching out for a new collaborator, someone with whom he hoped he might recapture a bit of the magic he'd once shared with his old partner, John Lennon. He finally settled upon another native Liverpudlian, the acerbic ex-punk Elvis Costello.
That's it.
My brave face, I've been doing around, unaccustomed as I do this luxury life. I've been hitting the town, only you getting it back.
I found some sort of echoes of working with John.
Because he's a Liverpudlian also? Or?
He's Liverpudlian, he's got this sort of straightforward approach, straight from the shoulder, will give you his opinion very easily.
I've really enjoyed writing with him. I learned a lot about, by having to explain myself. The ideas bounce back and forward, and that's, you know, the way I think you should work with somebody. If you work too deliberately and you're afraid to criticize each other, you're not going to get anywhere. You've got to be able to go, no, that's rubbish, you know, can't say that, don't be stupid. And you haven't got to be afraid to do that. And any other considerations of who he is and what he's been have to go out the window.
McCartney's collaborations with Costello appeared on Flowers in the Dirt, an album for which he assembled a whole new band, and liked the musicians so much, he decided to keep them together.
We just didn't want to put it down. We just didn't want to kind of go our separate ways and say, okay, thanks for making the album, goodbye. It felt like we should keep this together, you know, even just for the jokes, which were pretty lame, but you know, they amused us. There's the one about the snail that got mugged by two tortoises. They went to the police station, and the policeman said, well, tell me in great detail, you know, what happened. He said, I couldn't, it all happened so fast. These were the types of jokes that attracted me to these boys.
The 60s were long gone by now, along with the Beatles, but the audience for McCartney and his music remained huge. And so once again, at the age of 47, Paul McCartney hit the road.
And I love the fact that people haven't seen us before. I mean, I think that's great, because I've got a lot of kind of young nephews or nieces who kind of say, you know, please play, because we weren't there the first time around. And I really like that idea. And I think a lot of the 60s stuff anyway is coming back, so it seems like a good time to do that.
We got a bunch of songs together and started playing them in various orders. We were actually going to open the show with Saw Her Standing There, which was just great fun. We thought, it's this little huff and a bass. And Saw Her Standing There, a great opening number and stuff. But I was driving one night and I just thought, now it's like, it's as if we're not proud enough of our new material. I really thought it'd be a cop-out. It's like a betrayal of the new material to just kind of, hey, just totally do the Beatles stuff. You can't just sort of betray one period because people like another period. Musicians like what you do, when fans like what you do, I find that more important than when critics like what you do, because they're fickle. Critics, you know, they'll just, I mean, it's their job, you know, that's fair enough for them, but I try to not get too involved in criticism. I think, you know, maybe some of the stuff that critics have downed of mine might come through one of these days. It might just be that it's not as obvious, that it's not as accessible. It might be okay, you know, I don't know. I've got a sneaking feeling that some of the songs will be kind of rediscovered. But the main thing is that if the audience likes it, you know, the people you're playing to like it, that's the favorite. analyse too much. I think it's dangerous. It's like believing your own myth, you know? Your own myth. I try and keep away from all that. You know, I just try and write instinctively and hope it comes out right.
Give me your hand, I'd like to shake it. I want to show you I'm your friend. Put it there, if it weighs a ton. That's what a father said to his young son.
Well, obviously we can't keep playing the same sort of music until we're about 40, because when we're sort of old men playing From Me to You, nobody's going to want to know it's all about that sort of thing. So, you know, we've thought about it, and probably the thing that John and I will do will be write songs as we have been doing as a sort of sideline now. We'll probably develop that a bit more, we hope. Who knows, at 40 we may not know how to write songs anymore.
As the 1990s got underway, McCartney's quarter-century of chart hits and sold-out concerts were saluted by the American music industry with a special Grammy Award for what it called his lifetime achievement.
I say this whole thing for me has been like a bit of a dream anyway, my whole career to this date, my whole life to this date, in fact. But I'd like to just thank Linda and my kids for being incredible support to me. I love them. I'd like to thank my mum and dad, without whom I'd like to thank you all for being in my dream.